Okay, Jacques, it's a pleasure to be here.
It's lovely to be here too.
Starting off with your music, how did you first get involved in music?
I've always loved music. I've always been obsessed with the work of singer-songwriters like Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen. They opened up worlds for me. And in my 20s, I was involved in a band called the Flying Ants uh, with a friend of mine, and that was the first group in which I actually had to write songs.
Okay.
And I found I could do it. I could do the writing. I didn't do it well at that time, but I found I could do it. And then about 15 years ago, I got involved with Barbara Fairhead. We started writing songs together. You write a song, you write another song, um, and before you know it, you have enough material for an album. You start looking for a producer. So it happens slowly, step by step.
So
Uh,
did you have classical training? Did you start with the piano or?
I had classical voice training, and that helped me a lot. A time did come when I had to forget some of that training to sound like a folk rock singer.
Okay.
Um, some of it was, and Barbara would occasionally say, "Yeah, that sounds a bit singerly," and I said, "Well, I am a singer. I'm a trained singer." So some of the material called for slightly more rugged, rough approach because you're singing about things that are at the edge of at the edges of experience.
Right.
Yeah, but classical voice training for sure. Very grateful I had that.
When you write a song, you start with the music, or do you have the words in your head and you work music for that?
I often start with the words.
Okay.
I am a poet and I'm a words guy, so I often start with the words, and then often I start with them in conversation with a melody. Sometimes I start in conversation with a melody or another lyric, and I sort of knock my head against it and talk to it until I start responding to it.
Okay. So do you ever sit at the piano and say a few words and tinkle away until something gels?
Let me think. It's been a while since I wrote a song, but usually something sort of slowly cooks up in my in my psyche, in my mind, in my heart. Um, some kind of a fight often I'm having with myself, some kind of a quarrel I'm having with myself until I can say something about it, and then I sit down or I walk up and down in the room and I hum something um, until the song starts to emerge.
Okay.
Slowly.
With that,
Once you have two or three lines, it gets easier. Then you, but I do feel I have to have something to say.
okay, obviously. And then with that in mind, when you compose the song, now how do you think, what key is this going to be in? Or what tempo?
I never think about the tempo really. Producers think about that.
Okay, and the
They
key?
come in, they say, "This is good, but you got to play it faster." I like it slow.
Okay.
I like it slow, and um, yeah, I do think about the key. I do think about the key. I do try. I do try it in different keys
Until
until I've
until you feel it works.
It works, and because of there was a long time when I was even less good on the piano than I am now. So I would often start in the key of C.
Okay.
You can write. You can write a. You can make an album called "Songs in the Key of C."
Is that one of the easier?
It's easy because there are no black notes in the key of C.
Really?
It's just easy. You find all the chords and you know. But I'm getting better now. It's becoming, that's sort of become irrelevant now, increasingly.
Okay. So with Red Earth and Rust, you write the music, and when you have, do you do a demo and then take it to the other guys and let them add their parts?
Yes,
Or how does that
I
work?
I take it to a producer, and for the last 3 albums we've worked with Johnny Blundell
Oh, he's
of
brilliant.
Spring,
He's
and he's
brilliant.
brilliant. And so usually in the past, Barbara always wrote the words, and then they came first,
Okay.
and then I would write the melodies. For this one, I did most both. Well, I did both in except for one song where she wrote the words for,
Okay.
And then I do this rickety demo, and then we take it to Johnny, and you say, would you like to produce this? How would it work? What instruments do you think it needs? And then there's a conversation, give and take.
And when the other musicians add their parts, do you go to a studio and do it together, or
We do it here. So the
Okay.
last 3 albums we recorded in this house. We had we brought the instruments in. We sort of moved the furniture, and we had different instruments in different parts of the house. And Dave Langeman, the mixing engineer, and
Yeah, I know Dave.
And recording engineer, he brought his gear in, and we just took over the house, and this was the studio.
Well, did obviously each guy did their own instrument separately, or
We played together as much as we could. In fact, we did that as a rule. We would do takes of the songs. We would do a few takes until we had the take we thought we wanted.
live?
Yeah, live. And then we said, well, okay, now let's fix, let's, you do your bit. And then when we had the take we wanted, that wouldn't necessarily be the best vocal take.
Yeah.
And then you'd say, well, now, come back and do 12 vocal takes. And let's see which is the best one. Sometimes you have to do a bit of splicing. You have to
Okay.
a bit of take 4 and a bit of take 9, that kind of thing. And that's a part of the art, as I'm sure you know, of recording, is that you can do that, but you have to make that seem seamless and natural.
Yeah.
So that those cuts are invisible, inaudible.
You've worked with some amazing musicians. I mean, Johnny Blundell, Byron Bertrand, didn't he, the bass player?
Yeah, Brian Bolton, he's a fantastic bass player. Yeah.
And at one stage, well, didn't you have Kevin Gibson on drums?
Russ Campbell we had.
Oh, Ross Campbell, yeah. From Benguela.
Yes, so he and Bryden are from Benguela. I think one of the most exciting musical outfits around.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Because they, as you know, they have that improvisational way of working that we know nothing ever sounds the same twice.
Yeah. I love that in music.
Yeah.
Who else have you played with? I'm sure at some stage, maybe I'm mistaken, you played with Roger Lucy?
We've never actually had Roger on an album. We had Willem Muller on guitar.
Okay.
I'll send you a list of all the musicians. We had Nick Capel on this one.
Okay. Which bassist did you have? I can't recall who played bass. Oh, was that Byron Bertrand?
So we had
Byron Bertrand.
So Bryden Bolton.
Bolton, yes.
We had mostly, yes, for most of our. He's the sort of mainstay bassist, and Russ is the sort of mainstay drummer that we've had. Yes, but there have been others. We've done great work as well.
Have you played many live performances as Red Earth and Rust?
I'm not as gig fit as I once was. Um, but we played. We had a regular slot at the Alma Cafe, and
Right.
played in other places as well. But that's my favorite place to play, I would say, because it's intimate.
Isn't it a bit
Great
too
care is
small?
taken with the sound.
Isn't it a bit too small?
I quite like that.
Okay.
I quite like that. I like the intimacy of it.
Okay. That is nice. If you like that, I've got a friend, Bill Knight. Got a
Yes,
place in Fisher called the Cottage Club. I mean, that would be
yes,
perfect for you, I
yes,
think.
yes. I mean, I love Bill. I mean, I love his records. I think he's a great songwriter, and
And I mean, he's the engineer, so
yeah,
already you've got an engineer.
yes, yes. We haven't played there as often actually, but that's I've attended gigs there, and it's always wonderful to go there,
Yeah.
and I can't wait for the world to open up a bit more so that one can do more of that.
Well, he has been having shows there.
Really, I haven't been
He
getting
played there. He
emails.
had a gig there himself this past weekend.
Wow, I haven't been getting. I haven't been getting those emails. I must actually make sure that I'm
Are you
on
on
the
his list?
I
Cottage
was.
Club.
I must just make sure that I still am.
And then I have another good friend, Alison Cadot. She puts on shows at the Camel Rock restaurant,
Ah, yes,
Scarborough.
yes,
Now that could be a nice intimate venue for you.
that could be yes.
And she has shows every weekend.
So that would be. So I look forward to that kind of thing becoming more and more possible again. And I've been working on my piano playing.
Okay.
I have a jazz teacher now,
Right.
and the hope is that I can also play these songs solo.
Okay.
And that would be wonderful.
It would be.
Mm.
Like you could have two sets. Like the first set you solo, and then the band joins you for the second.
Well, that's also possible. Yes. So the songs have a double life, really. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Okay.